Okay, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kevin Bargness. I work in the Communications Division at the Department of Planning and Development. Thanks for coming. I want to let you know that we are recording this webinar and it is being live streamed on YouTube. This meeting and materials related to it will be available afterward at chicago.gov/Humboldt Park, which is on our Invest Southwest website. With that, I will turn it over to Ernest Bellamy. Ernest, go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ernest Bellamy. I am a West Region planner within the Department of Planning and Development. I am the project manager of the Invest Southwest Humboldt Park Chicago Avenue RFP. Thank you all for having the opportunity to join us this afternoon to go over the RFP, and we'll go from there. So today's agenda, we'll have a quick welcome, followed by a presentation of the upcoming RFPs that are related with the rollout of this RFP, as well as a deeper dive into the Humboldt Park Chicago Avenue RFP, as titled 3601 through 25 West Chicago Avenue. After that, we will open up to a Q&A. And then conclude with next steps. So I will pause for a second, just in case I don't see the alderman on.
You know, I see Alderman Burnett as an attendee. Ernest, let me bump him up to a panelist.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hello, Alderman.
Good afternoon, Alderman. I don't know if you wanted to say a quick hello to the audience.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I just want to commend everyone who's about to deal with this RFP. Thank all the people from planning who put it together. Just want you all to know you're hitting the ground early because this area is going to be real high. So good luck to everyone. I hope you all are successful. Thank you.
Thanks, Alderman. All right, so I'll continue on with an introduction into the Invest Southwest RFP process, as well as a little bit of a recap to what's been done up until this point. So for those who are new to the Invest Southwest RFPs, RFPs overall, they are requests for proposals. They're aimed at soliciting development proposals for city-owned land. Traditionally, RFPs simply provide details regarding the subject property, whether it be size, zoning, appraised value, and a brief indication of the preferred use. Invest Southwest RFPs go one step further and illustrate a desired urbanism of the site, as well as a more robust description of uses desired by the community. The Invest Southwest RFPs are also built on an understanding of available incentives and partner those incentives with the proposed development to ensure a high level of financial feasibility. Right now, we're in the third batch of Invest Southwest RFPs that have been released. To date, there have been 10 different Invest Southwest RFPs that have been released, as well as 3 winners selected. Our first batch, which was rolled out in August 2020, awards were issued back in March of 2021. Those sites include Austin, Inglewood, and Auburn Gresham. The November 2020 batch of RFPs were 4 different sites in North Lawndale, Bronzeville, the New City Back of the Yards neighborhood, and South Chicago. Applicants are currently under review, and an announcement should be made shortly as to what those winners are of those applications. And most recently, last month, was the release of the April 2021 batch, which included 2 sites in Humboldt Park along North Avenue in Pulaski, and the site we'll be talking about in further detail here today, Chicago Avenue in Central Park, as well as the South Shore neighborhood. Kind of going over a little bit of the winning responses from August 2020. As you can see here on the screen, the 3 winners in neighborhoods received more than $65 million in investment for their different proposals. There was the Austin United Alliance, a 70-unit mixed income retail building, an incubator and community co-working space and plaza, renovating the landmark structure of the Laramie State Bank building. In Auburn Gresham, there was Evergreen Image, a $19.4 million project of 56 affordable housing units and ground floor retail. And lastly, in Inglewood was the Inglewood Connect project, a $10.3 million investment project, adaptively reusing the landmark Green Street Fire Station to create a eco food hub, among also repurposing vacant land, proposed vacant land to provide year-round farming operations, a public plaza as well. Going into November 2020, the RFP releases are seen here in kind of the suggested rendering of the community input and concept for South Chicago, New City, Bronzeville, and North Lawndale. And next, right now on your screen is the April 2021 RFP releases. Again, the 2 sites that are in Humboldt Park and South Shore. The South Shore neighborhood's proposed vision was a grouping of buildings along 79th and Exchange at roughly 120,864 square feet. The Humboldt Park Humboldt Park North Avenue RFP, which re-envisioned reutilizing the Pioneer Bank building at the intersection of North and Pulaski, as well as vacant lots to the north of it, in a 174,000 square foot redevelopment proposal. And the last but not least, the Humboldt Park Chicago Avenue RFP at Chicago and Central Park, which is roughly 65,500 square feet of mixed-use development at that site. To kind of go further into detail on Humboldt Park Chicago Avenue, we'll take a deep dive into the corridor right now. The corridor, as you can kind of see here on your screen, is in the lower portion of the Humboldt Park neighborhood. The corridor spans between Kedzie Avenue to the east and Pulaski Road to the west. The corridor itself has pretty good adjacencies to transit. The Metra has a station just to the south of the corridor, right at Kedzie, as well as the CTA Green Line has a few stops in the adjacent Garfield Park neighborhood, just to the south of the site. All these sites all these transit locations are less than a mile off the corridor, providing pretty reasonable transit options when it comes to commuter rail and rapid transit. The community also has a multitude of amenities ranging from health and wellness to schools, parks, and nonprofits. At our site is NHS, Neighborhood Housing Services, as well as surrounding our site is the West Humboldt Park Community Development Council, NIA Family Center, Roe Clark School, among others. Taking a deeper dive into the actual site, you can kind of see the two properties that make up our RFP as listed here. Neighborhood Housing Services is the greater portion that's to the right, and a privately owned lot that we are in the process of seeking acquisition authority on, or we have, is the smaller site to the left of the screen. Together, they both create the RFP opportunity that we have here. Here's a bit of a visual recently taken out on the site from the intersection of Chicago and Central Park, kind of looking back southwest across the site. Zoning and land ownership, currently right now, you can see the parcel numbers for the property. The site currently is zoned B32, but the zoning, dependent on what responses we receive back, department's amenable to adjusting zoning as needed to fit the proposal. And again, the two sites that we have here, we have the NHS site at roughly 19,375 square feet, and the vacant site that has been under acquisition authority at 9,375 square feet. I'll take the time here to point out that surrounding the site are multiple opportunities of vacant parcels. For the purposes of this RFP, we've excluded them as being included, but it is open to any respondent to seek and engage opportunities adjacent or surrounding the site for your proposal to see if it helps to strengthen your proposal. The sites located here on Monticello are currently vacant, and from recent conversations with the property owner, they are amenable to conversations from any respondents with regards to the potential inclusion of the property into their proposal. Next, going into the community vision for the site. It's basically a kind of a 4 to 5 prong approach. NHS has been an amazing partner in this opportunity of having an amazing site and capacity within their West Side hub. We'd like to see that relationship continue along the corridor, and that West Side NHS is able to operate their West Side hub activities out of the site going forward into the future. Respondents are being asked to work with NHS to incorporate their needs and their interest in the site. Additionally, we wanted to continue having an existing use that already happens on the site, in that the plaza parking space that is currently existed at the NHS site is something that will be looked at as being retained into the future of the site. Having the ability to continue services like the summer farmers market that currently happens and will start June 5th of this year on Saturdays at the site. Continued uses like that are seen as highly important for the site's viability and continued use. Additionally, there's space for the community amenity space, as well as commercial retail space along Chicago Avenue to continue the thriving atmosphere and relationship of the strength of the commercial corridor that is along Chicago Avenue. Along with that is residential units. We pegged at a minimum 50 units of residential to be part of this. Respondents are more than welcome within their proposals if they so deem it to go beyond that. That at a bare minimum, we're looking at 50 units of affordable rental housing, including family-sized units. In addition to what I briefly mentioned earlier, I wanted to kind of put up on the screen a bit about NHS. They own the parcel at 3601 West Chicago Avenue, and they are willing to explore options for inclusion and redevelopment of their parcel pursuant to this RFP. NHS is open to exploring various options with developers other than direct acquisition of the property, which may include retaining ownership of the property through a vertical condominium or ground lease, and/or participating in a joint venture partner with the selected development entity. More information will be provided by Linda Green, Director of NHS's Redevelopment Corporation, as well as Linda is on this afternoon if there's any questions for her when we get to the Q&A portion of our presentation here today. Next up is looking at some of the reference images that the pro bono consultant team that helped develop the vision for this RFP looked at and went over with the community as kind of some of the reference imagery and some of the essence of what we're looking for in this RFP opportunity to bring to this site. Kind of looking at public space on the exterior, how can there be a dynamic hybrid of public space? Additionally, how do we keep this dynamic facade that we have along Chicago Avenue? Various brick-faced buildings and storefronts. How do you keep that resonant within your proposal, as well as something dynamic that is modern, fresh, and current? This led to our pro bono consultants, JGMA Architects, envisioning the following, what you see on your screen, which is that mix of the 50 units of housing, the opportunity for an amenity space, space for NHS and an expanded Westside Hub facility, as well as retail space and a plaza parking hybrid space that allows the community to continue having opportunities like the farmers market continue on the site. Here's another view of that, the proposed envisioned site, kind of showing the site kind of a little bit pulled back in surrounding context with the neighborhood. Here's a little bit of the financial incentives that are part of the RFP. Some of the incentives that have been looked at for this project are included here, from the Neighborhood Opportunity Fund, tax increment financing, property tax incentive classifications, new market tax credits, and low-income housing tax credits. Next, going into evaluation criteria and partnerships. As an overview of the criteria, we're really looking for the opportunity to really create community wealth building out of this project. Equitable control, ownership, and/or decision-making authority of historically disadvantaged business partners, reflecting the demographics of the community areas. Bidders that are Black and Latino owned businesses, and/or bidders that prioritize employment of Black and Latino employees. A proven track record of working and making investments in the South and West Side communities of Chicago is important. Collaboration and support from community-based organizations, community residents, historically disadvantaged business owners, and aldermen. Promote local small businesses, business development, arts and cultural-based businesses, community space, and/or entrepreneurial opportunities for community residents. Professional and technical competence, professional qualifications and specialized experience of the development team is something we'll be looking at, as well as adherence to recently released neighborhood design guidelines and the design excellence principles. And last but not least, economic feasibility. What is the purchase price, financial qualifications, and total project costs of your proposal? A bit about the partnership model explanation, as you see here on the screen. The City of Chicago and DPD are committed to inclusive economic development that increases the capacity of and the participation from racial and ethnic minorities and residents who are members of other historically disadvantaged groups. As part of the Invest Southwest, this RFP has dual goals of building a development site in an identified community area and maximizing the participation of owners of local Black and Latino residents in all phases of the project, including but not limited to design, development, construction, financing, and operations. The expectation is that the bidding teams, partnerships reflect the demographics of the community area where the development will take place. To some of what we spoke of earlier, in achieving design excellence, the city does have a pre-qualified list of design service firms that reflect the diversity of the city of Chicago well with their work and are established emerging firms. These firms, the work is not exclusive to just these firms. You're open to seeking design services from a multitude of different design professionals, but we have a pre-qualified list of design firms that are available for this endeavor. As part of achieving design excellence, we've prioritized an inclusive design process to foster equitable development. Especially building on local wealth, to build on building wealth within the community by involving local partnerships in the development team, local developers, hire local contractors, and lease to local businesses. Be great to engage with the local community and really strengthen those ties of local development. Not only on the design services of an architect or a developer, but really engage within the community to make sure that your proposal speaks well to being inclusive of the community, and really a proposal that is of the community, that really resonates well with not only what is within the RFP, pointed out within the RFP, but does a great job of really speaking towards the community goals, vision, challenges, and strengths that are outlined. For potential levels of local involvement are, as you see here, in that looking at building local wealth from developer teams to designer teams, contractor trades, and tenants and businesses. So from there, that's all I have as far as a presentation on a little bit of a deeper dive into the RFP. Next, we wanted to open it up for questions with regards to what has already been previously seen by our teams, or by all these different respondents for the RFP, as well as open it up to any comments which you can dump into the Q&A if you are on Zoom, and that we can respond to live here. So I'll pause for a little bit. I know it takes some time to type in those questions, but if there are any questions with regards to anything that has been shown here today or within the RFP document that is available, feel free to ask them. As well, feel free to raise your hand if you have any questions, and we can unmute you to ask your question. Okay, we have some questions starting to roll in here. The first up that I see, can you describe in further detail some of the community desires or concerns for new development in the area? Thank you for that question. Some of the desires that the community has expressed through previous community roundtables for the corridor, as well as through the visioning session processes, have been an increased interest in health and wellness along the corridor, financial banking services, seeing a stronger amount of or potential for more banking services to be shown on the corridor, some fresh and healthy food options for the corridor. To some degree, parts of the corridor are starting to get into food desert designation. So residents were really eager and interested in seeing what opportunities lie in bringing some more healthier food option choices towards the corridor. Again, the banking aspect of things, if there's a way to get to more than what's offered now to the corridor, and the potential of a more health and wellness options to the corridor, as there's a few that are existent and a few that are off the beaten path, off the corridor. But how can we really help to strengthen the corridor and bring those closer in so that residents don't have to travel too much off the corridor? Next question. One of the plan drawings for the pro bono design showed the alley off of Chicago Avenue being vacated. Is there an assumption that the city is open to this possibility? What about the alley off of the side streets? Thank you for that question. Yes, the city is open to vacating the alley that is in between the two properties in order to make one unified property. That's open to that is definitely a possibility. In terms of then, what happens with that alley, it's kind of up to respondent teams of how does this alley dead end? Is there a dogleg out to Monticello, right behind the property, or is there another way out onto Central Park that happens off to the alley? One thing in particular, and I will try to go back to reverse the presentation to kind of bring up the slide. We want to retain access to the existing owners that are on Monticello in properties as shown in what I'm circling right now. Those are existing buildings that need to have a retention of alley service. So it's really up to the respondents if there is an alley relocated as seen here in this envisioned proposal from the pro bono consultant, or if there's another way out that may turn out on Central Park Avenue. Any other questions? Well, wanted to go over a few brief questions of frequently asked questions with regards to the RFP. How did DPD come up with these renderings? So the development scenarios presented in the Invest Southwest RFPs were created by pro bono interdisciplinary teams led by the Chicago Central Area Committee. Each scenario was led by a design firm. In this case, JGMA, Juan Gabriel Moreno Architects. But there was a team of sub-consultants that provided market analysis to ensure feasibility of the development scenarios. So the pro bono team did an excellent job of really seeing what is capable here. And we've provided that as a baseline within the RFP document. Another frequently asked question that we typically receive on these RFPs are, is there an expectation for applicants to have third-party financial or third-party fiscal impact studies to be available to meet criteria for community wealth building? This is not a requirement. It is up to applicants to demonstrate how they are meeting the RFP's community wealth building goals. Another question we typically receive, what kind of an environmental reporting is available on the sites? For this site in particular, we include an environmental report that is part of the appendix, which can be found on the Invest Southwest website. So check out the appendix, and you'll have a bit about the environmental reports that have been previously produced for the site. So we have a question from the audience. Will there be a scheduled site visit? Good question. Currently, there has not been a scheduled site visit for all teams, but that is something we can look into, what potentials there are for that. I'm not sure from the panelists on the call if we have any information on that, if anyone would like to chime in with a bit more. Okay. Thank you for that question. Definitely in the post wrap of this session, we will be putting out Q&As for that have come in, and we'll come back with a bit more on will there be a scheduled site visit. The sites right now, I would say, feel free to walk by on the exteriors. Nothing wrong with walking down a sidewalk and checking out the properties. But as far as a more detailed, deeper look, this is something we'll get back to you on if we will schedule a site visit at a future time to review the properties. Another question we have here, what programs does the city already have in place to help open up the corridor for development? Anything done to make this an ETOD, increase Wi-Fi connectivity, etc.? I think for a part of this question, I will pass it off to Edward, who is in financial incentives, to talk a bit about this question. Edward?
Hey, Ernest. Do you mind repeating that question for me?
Yes. What programs does the city already have in place to help open up the corridor for development?
In regards to financial incentives, there's a number of financial incentives that were utilized to come up with the pro forma, and obviously there's other options as well. But Just to name a few, we have tax increment financing, the Neighborhood Opportunity Fund. Those two are the main ones that would be used here, and others that could be pursued would be new market tax credits for the retail portion. And for the residential aspect, we are heavily relying on low-income tax credits. So a combination of all those could potentially make this project feasible. Again, it's going to be up to the developer to come up with a way that this works best for the developer itself and for the city.
Great. Thank you, Edward. In addition to the second part of the question, anything done to make this an ETOD? This site is seen as a transit served location, as Chicago Avenue is one of our high priority corridors. The 66 bus line regularly frequents up and down Chicago Avenue. And Chicago Avenue itself is seen as one of these TSL corridors to break apart that acronym, transit served location. So we do have ETOD incentives that are available for this site. And then the last part of the question, increase Wi-Fi connectivity. I'm not sure if I or any of the panelists could speak to that aspect of the question, but I'll pause and open it to the floor of the panelists to see if they have a response. Okay, hearing none, I would say in the post Q&A wrap, we will look forward to diving into that aspect of the question to see if we have any answer and follow up on the back end. Thank you. All right. So going back into some of the frequently asked questions we receive for these RFPs. Does each RFP indicate what type of projects are optimal for each site? Each RFP indicates desired uses based on the community feedback and market feasibility. Respondents may propose other uses or configurations of uses as long as they are consistent with the vision for the corridor set forth in each RFP. One frequently asked question with regards to NOF and SPIF. What is the timing to apply for NOF and SPIF? NOF small is expected to open another round starting in the third quarter of 2021. For more information on NOF, please visit chicago.gov/NOF. NOF large, which is separate from NOF small, has an open application process, and you are free to apply at any time. The Humboldt Park Chicago Avenue RFP site is in a TIF where SPIF is available. The SPIF program opens for applications for 30-day periods in eligible areas as funds are available. DPD has a citywide SPIF rollout schedule. The RFP site's TIF will be open for applications in October of 2021. Applications will be accepted starting October 1st and are due by the 5th by 5 p.m. on November 1st. For more information on SPIF applications, please go to summercore.com/spiff. Summercore spelled SOMER, core spelled COR.com/spiff. Another frequently asked question that we receive with regards to incentives is how many incentives can you stack? I'm going to respond to this question and I'll open it up to Edward if you would like to add anything on top of the answer that I have. But with regards to incentives that you can stack, we intend to evaluate each response based on the evaluation criteria set forth in the RFP. One of which is financial viability. We are open to considering multiple layers of our incentives and others as needed in order to help make a project viable.
You hit it right in the nail, Ernest. This is going to be very unique to each proposal, and the city is open to stacking multiple incentives.
Great, thank you, Edward. Another question we typically get, can you elaborate more about the standards expected by DPD related to the community engagement process? The community expects to be involved and informed of the RFP process. Throughout the Humboldt Park Chicago Avenue RFP visioning, community stakeholders were clear in their desire to be included in the future of the RFP site. DPD encourages applicants to meet with the community prior to submittal to gather support and potentially form partnerships. Shortlisted respondents will have the opportunity to present their proposals to the Humboldt Park Chicago Avenue and West Southwest Community Roundtable, where their commitment to community engagement will be assessed by the community. This will be one of the factors that will influence the DPD's decisions on which applicant is selected. Another question we typically get, how will we be able to stay informed and be able to get an opportunity to take advantage of what is going on within the communities and be a part of the process? Well, the Invest Southwest Roundtables will be the best opportunity for community-based based platform to stay informed about the RFP process. With this RFP in particular, the Humboldt Park Chicago Avenue Invest Southwest Roundtable is a great opportunity. In addition, the other RFPs have their own roundtable for their corridors. At a baseline, those are great roundtables to be on at a baseline. I will pause here and open it up to Alderman Burnett if he has any other community based meetings that respondents would be welcome at or would be seen as a way of really engaging with the community to understand their desired needs and interests.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Whatever I do, Ernest, would be with the West Humboldt Park Development Council. So, however they want to do it, that's how we'll do it. But I think that they've been trying to be engaged and involved and as transparent as possible with this process. Definitely, we would like to see the proposals I'm sure the community want to see what's being proposed and probably want to get some input too.
Great. Thank you, Alderman Burnett.
Ernest, it looks like we have Bill Williams here with his hand up. Do you mind if I let him go ahead?
Oh, yes.
Okay, Mr. Williams, you should be able to unmute yourself now.
You know, that was actually an accident.
Ah, okay, no worries.
Sorry.
No problem. Okay. Another question we have, which is unique to our RFP response, is about the NHS's site. The question is, do you expect applicants to negotiate a purchase and sell agreement with NHS and their site prior to submitting the RFP response? I have a bit here that was kind of covered earlier, but I'll also open it up to Linda Green from NHS to add more from the response I have here, which is NHS owns the parcel at 3601 West Chicago Avenue and is willing to explore options for inclusion and redevelopment for their parcel pursuant to this RFP. NHS is open to exploring various options with developers other than direct acquisition of the property, which may include retaining ownership of the property through a vertical condominium or ground lease, and/or participating in as a joint venture partner with the selected development entity. Linda, I don't know if you would like to add more on to that answer.
No, I think that basically covers our position. We are not necessarily looking to just have the property acquired. We are open to looking at how we can, we intend on staying, at that site. We are open to talking to developers about how that becomes possible, whether that's retaining ownership of our parcel through, like I said, a ground lease or a vertical condominium or being a part of the development partnership. But we are not looking to just sell the property outright. We've been there for a while. We are, it's debt-free. We are not interested in paying rent. So that's why we are basically open to having that discussion.
Thank you, Linda. And the community definitely wants to see NHS continue in their current capacity on the site. So we really want to encourage that those responding to the RFP really look to engage with NHS and find some creative means for their inclusion into this RFP. Another question we typically get, there were vacant properties along Monticello Avenue adjacent to the property. Are these included in the RFP? To be precise, this is 741 through 745 North Monticello. No, they are not in the RFP. The city has not sought acquisition authority for these parcels. The private property owner, however, is open to engage with RFP respondents. It is up to each applicant to decide if the inclusion of the vacant parcels strengthens their proposal. Oops. Another question we typically get, will the city provide pre-development costs, in particular soft costs? Additionally, what about procurement? The city does not typically cover pre-development costs. There is foundational support available via competitive grants. The Chicago Community Trust provides a pre-development grant up to $100,000 to support community-based Black and Latino developers and nonprofit organizations in covering the cost of pre-development services. The grant is not a reimbursable grant, so each team is encouraged to apply as early as possible in the planning stage. As a TA partner for the trust, the Community Desk Chicago is available to answer questions related to qualifications and the application process. More information on the fund is available through the following link at the Chicago Community Trust's website, cct.org/what-we-offer/RFP pre-development fund. There's a few dashes in between those words. So again, that website is cct.org/what-we-offer/RFP-pre-development-fund. In addition, you can also contact Janae DeFille directly at jdefell@communitydesk.org. Another question we typically get, will the projects be union or prevailing wage? Our answer is that any project receiving city assistance or incentives will be subject to prevailing wage. Another question we typically get, would there be MWBE developer requirements on these developments? Yes. The selected respondent must, at a minimum, comply with the City of Chicago's construction requirements. During construction, at least 26% of the qualified project costs must be paid to city-certified minority business enterprises, or MBEs, and at least 6% must be paid to city-certified women business enterprises, or WBEs for short. In addition, Chicago residents must perform at least half of all construction worker hours. Another question we typically get, how can we connect with local developers and contractors if we are from out of state? A list of attendees to the pre-bid conference will be published shortly after it is held. Trade associations and local community stakeholders may be able to provide leads as well. Another question we get, where will the RFP documents be posted? Yes, surprisingly, we get that question, especially if this is the first time you're aware of this RFP. The RFPs, this one and the others involved in this third round are available for download, and they have been since April 23rd at the city's website, chicago.gov/investsw. That short link will take you to the Invest Southwest page, or you'll be able to review the RFPs that are currently available, as well as the previous rounds. Another question we typically get: where can one get additional information about the market demand analysis and other components that result in the potential projects as designed? Well, the real estate market analysis was completed by each CCAC team for each RFP to inform the development concepts shown. For this RFP in particular, relevant market findings can be found in the RFP starting on page 32. Another question we typically get: does the site prioritize art, culture, placemaking, or keeping? And will there be requirements for MWBE professional services, not just developer services? Our answer is yes. The Humboldt Park Chicago Avenue will certainly prioritize placemaking and keeping through public art. In partnership with the soon-to-be selected artists and residents for our corridor, a program launched by, in collaboration, launched by DPD and DCASE, the site and its surroundings will serve as one of several possible locations for enhanced public art and cultural interventions. Another question we get: has there been input from retailers or retail experts on feasibility of suggested uses and income potential from the proposed developments? Yes. A real estate market and demographic analysis was completed by each CCAC team for each RFP to inform the development concepts that have been shown. Another question: as a part of the grading of the RFP, will we need to have our potential anchor commercial tenant in hand as we respond to the RFP? Your project narrative must include a description of intended users of the development and/or proposed users. So please do a great job of looking out and reaching out to see what those intended users of the development, what those potential anchors tenants may be in your proposal. It's extremely helpful. Another question we get: is this project exclusively mixed use, or can the site be entirely residential? The goal of the site is to contribute to a lively mixed-use environment along Chicago Avenue. DPD does not encourage ground floor residential at this site. So, in short, mixed use. Another question we get: how can we make sure that this will be a fair process and that the RFP is not baked for a specific team? The City of Chicago will review the submissions in accordance to the evaluation criteria described in the RFP documents. Another question we get: will construction trade training be made available so that people from the communities may be able to possibly join the unions and work on these projects. The city intends to work with workforce development agencies to recruit from these communities into the construction trades. Construction trade training does exist at Dawson Technical Institute. Dawson Technical Institute is part of Kennedy King College. The address is 3901 South State Street. Phone number 773-602-5555 for those who are interested. Another question we typically get: will the city detail planned infrastructure investments that correspond to the RFP local areas? Our answer, yes. The key investment section of the RFP addresses this question. Another question we typically get: does the city offer funding or partnership opportunities to private developers that are interested in developing on vacant neighborhood lots? Well, depending on the projects contemplated for those vacant neighborhood lots, there could potentially be incentives provided by DPD and or DOH. Another question we typically get: a design firm submitted an application for the Invest Southwest Architecture pre-qualification list, but was not selected. Are the respondents to the RFPs for the site development required to use a design firm from the list of 32 pre-qualified architects? Developers are not required to use firms on the pre-qualified list. Questions pertaining to this to the selection process, if any, should be directed to Gerardo Garcia. Gerardo's email address is gerardo.garcia at cityofchicago.org. Another question that we typically get: is the draft neighborhood design guidelines now available? Yes, it is our answer. The Design Excellence Neighborhood Design Guidelines are part of the addenda for this RFP, but they are equally available for downloading from the city's website. A great way for quick, easy access is going to the RFP on the city's website at chicago.gov/investsw. When you navigate to the request for proposals, downloading the Humboldt Park Chicago Avenue RFP and looking in the appendix for it. All right. Well, that's the end of the frequently asked questions that we typically have. Any final questions from those? Any final questions anyone has typed or would like to voice? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to next steps in the RFP process. Okay, so as you see here on the screen, the next steps are as follows. We're kind of in step 2 right now. We have already developed and released the RFP, and we're in the responses developed phase, leading to the April 31st deadline, where from there will be an evaluation of all the responses which have been submitted. And then after that, we'll be going into selecting a developer for the site, and as well as beginning negotiations. So kind of pulled out, lastly, this is the 3rd batch of RFPs that have been part of the Invest Southwest RFP release timeline. And we're looking to this process of being a pretty expedient and efficient way of building on the corridor. Building in our communities within the South and West Side, and really strengthening these communities through new incentives and development. So we're eager and engaged to get off the ground and get things rolling, so that our communities can be strengthened and enhanced by these developments. Well, we are currently a few minutes early, but I wanted to thank everyone for their for the opportunity to present today, and being willing to come out to this virtual session. The questions that we have been given, and we look forward to posting this up on YouTube, as it is being live streamed right now, as well as getting the Q&As that were covered today out and on the website for further distribution. I want to pause for any last comments from any of the panelists we have for this presentation here today, if they wanted to say a word. Okay, well, that is it for today. Thank you, everyone. And I'll look forward to reviewing those responses as they come in, as well as seeing interested parties engaged with the community virtually at the community roundtables, or seeing you out and about on the corridor as you engage with the community and dive deeper into understanding the site, and looking towards making a winning proposal for this opportunity. Thank you all, and have a great day.